Okay. Um, Hello, everybody. Welcome to our last Eyes on Fire online concert. Um, Even if I'm not a big fan of remote learning, I have to admit that it's great to be able to invite people who are in other parts of the world. Um, the last one we did, for example, was live from South Africa. I am very happy to do this last Eyes on Fire with a musician that I had the honor to meet in the West Bank and in East Jerusalem. But still, I think it was 13 years ago, a long time ago when I was there. Nowadays, he lives in the United States, and also his brother, Youssef Zayed, is a great percussion player that I was able to play with a few times. And oh, I see more and more people coming. Okay, so we will just start. You know how this works. Basel will play music, and then after every song or after every two songs, you can ask him questions about music, about live, about anything you want. This is a music that maybe you're not very used to. There are harmonies, sounds that are not common or that do not exist literally in Western music. So um, if you're discovering this for the first time, uh, try to have an open mind and enjoy the show. Basel, how are you?
Good. How are you, Albert? Can you hear me?
Very well. So
Very.
now everybody can see you. Um, the show is yours.
Wow, I'm on display. Look at that. Hi, everybody. I will, as Albert said, I will be playing one piece at a time. The first one will be an improvised piece on scale called Maqam Kurt, and I will stop after that. And please feel free to ask questions. Or anything you notice, anything you want to mention, please do not hesitate to ask and step in and just unmute yourself. Does that work, Albert? If people want to unmute themselves and say something?
Yes, by now they know how it works. They can write the questions on the chat, but they know that I prefer if they turn on the camera and and ask themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. Great.
Beautiful. Would you like to play a second piece before we ask questions?
Sure, yeah, I have actually a
Okay.
song prepared on the same scale. It's in Arabic Fusha. Um, I don't have a translation for it, like a professional translation, but I can also explain the meaning of the words after. And why I do that, because I think it's important for anybody, even people who speak and familiar with the Arabic, to hear the music in the actual language. So I hope I hope you enjoy it. It's called Kam by a poet named Hussein al-Barghouti. كم قلت ظلي لدي، كم كنت لي حينا وحينا علي، وغربتك الذكريات، وقطارات نصف الليل في روحي، وأنهار بلا ماء يطاردها الشتات. كم قلت ظلي لدي، كم كنت لي حينا وحينا علي، وغربتك الذكريات، وقطارات نصف الليل في روحي، وأنهار بلا ماء يطاردها الشتات. كم قلت ظلي لدي، لقد خطفتني منحنيات الحياة التهام. كم قلت ظلي لدي، تنحنين كتمثال على الماء، تآكلا من لحظة الشمس. كم قلت ظلي لدي، وينزل فوق، وينزل فوق، وينزل فوق جبينه الحجري الحمام. كم قلت ظلي لدي، وينزل سيف ذكرى غامض في ظهره، وينزل سيف ذكرى غامض في ظهره، ينام من تعب، ينام من تعب، ينام من تعب، ينام من تعب، ويوقظه الكلام، ويوقظه الكلام، ويوقظه الكلام، ويوقظه الكلام، ويوقظه الكلام. كم قلت ظلي لدي، كم كنت لي حينا وحينا علي، وغربتك الذكريات، وقطارات نصف الليل في روحي، وأنهار
So we have a first question. Emma, let me try to find you. Can you please turn on the
Yeah.
camera?
Hi. Hi.
One
Um,
second, one second. I'm trying to find you. Here you are. Go ahead.
Hi. I was wondering what kind of instrument you're playing.
Oh, yeah. So this is called oud,
Mm, okay.
and you spell it with an AOD or OUD,
OUT.
and
Yeah.
then some people write it this way, and you have an accent on the O sound in the beginning. So oud. So basically, you hit your throat every time you say oud.
Mm-hmm.
Ah. It's a Middle Eastern instrument. Believe it or not, this is the mother of the guitar, and or the father of the guitar, whichever gender you feel you're comfortable to pick. But yeah, that's traditionally this was where the guitar came from, and developed over the years to become classical guitar, and later on other sort of guitar forms. It has six strings. Traditionally, it had four strings. It has been used. There are some artifacts and some drawings from past history in Egypt, Iraq, and Yemen that shows this instrument being played with the fingers while picking, which I think kind of depicts harmonic work. Like they actually did produce chords while playing these instruments. So harmony did exist before Bach, and it is in this culture, the Middle Eastern and Arabic music, and Asia, I would say probably Asian culture too. And nowadays, this instrument is mostly used for melodic work. But if you notice, I played some chords too to kind of combine both the Western and Eastern styles of music into my pieces. It's made of all made of wood. This particular instrument, this is the face is spruce, and the back is, I believe, it's walnut um, or mahogany. I don't know which one it is, but leaning more towards walnut because mahogany has more of a reddish color. Um, the pegs are made of ebony, and the strings are made of two things. One of them are nylon strings, which is similar to what classical guitar uses, and the top ones that are made of silk. I don't know if you can see this from maybe this other phone. These top ones are made of silk, and it's copper coated on the top. Well, that's. Do you have other question? I don't know if I answered your question. Probably
Are
that was a long answer for your question.
there are six sets of two strings?
Yes, there are six sets of two strings. The top one should be also a pair, but it's not. Probably it's easier for the drone sounds. It's hard to tune too, like perfectly, and also the top one tends to be extremely loose, so it doesn't really like they will actually make an unpleasant sound. But yes, in theory, there are six strings of like double sets of six strings, and they're tuned in four intervals, like fourths,
Mm-hmm.
one after the other. Some changes happen in the top. It's sometimes it's a third, sometimes it's a fifth, depending on the music you're playing and the style you want to play. Um, and I'm aware also that in guitar sometimes they do different tuning for different styles of music. Thank you for asking.
Emma plays the mandolin.
Nice. Wow.
That's why I think she was asking this kind of questions. Just want to make sure that I understood what you said before. You said harmony existed before Bach.
That's correct.
So I'm not sure that everybody understood that sentence. For people who don't know that in Western music in general, we are taught that around the 18th century, Johann Sebastian Bach, with the well-tempered system with the 12 notes, invented harmony. It seems that you disagree with that. Why?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the evidence is there. There's so much left. I mean, the pharaohs have a lot of drawings in their caves and in their temples that shows. basically depicting those instruments similar to this one, similar to the oud, with musicians using their nails, like the way the flamenco guitar players play, which shows that they are playing simultaneously at least two notes, which to me it sounds more like, okay, well, this sounds like harmony, or looks like somebody is trying to play harmony and play at least two notes at the same time. And the whole concept of harmony is basically playing simultaneous notes to provide to make sort of some sort of a polyphony. And there's plenty of research that talks about this specific item as well. There's plenty of musicologists, ethnomusicologists who talked about this concept, and there is quite a significant feud amongst oud players nowadays. Uh, some argue that Arabic music or Middle Eastern music should only be melodic, and any harmony that's going to be played with it should not be considered as part of the music, and it's not congruent to the style of music. And some argue that no, maybe it is part of this music, and this. They seem to think that the whole well-tempered field came from this history of music. I mean, if we look at the Greek modes and like what came from Greece in terms of the modes of music, like the Dorian, Phrygian, Locrian, all these scales. In the church music and also in the way it was used, there's plenty of places where it talks about how these modes started to be being combined and to produce some harmonic work. The Gregorian chant is an example. It was a primary attempt to provide harmonic work with amongst choirs, with like two sounds, and then the counterpoint. And it feels as if it feels natural to the Arabic music and the style of Arabic music to have harmony in it. And I feel like it's part of the music. This is my personal opinion, of course, and we have some research and we have some, as I said, some evidence and artifacts that actually show or prove that. I hope I'm right.
Wonderful.
I usually I am right. So
Wonderful. It's always good to at least hear other versions, because we take for granted theories that are very Eurocentric that can or cannot be true. So in any case, it's just great to hear other opinions. Vivian is asking, did you write that song that you performed, the second one?
yes, I wrote the music. I didn't write the lyrics. As I said, the lyrics are written by a Palestinian poet. His name is Hussein al-Barghouti, and it's very philosophical. Like it's a love song, but it talks about real deep meaning to loving someone and relationships. So I really admire this piece, and what this part of this piece that talks about love.
Can you play another song?
Sure. Are we
Okay.
ready for one more? Okay, let me see what I have here. Okay, well, this is a new song that is already published, but I'm also having this piece as part of my. Oh, you know what? It's going to be the same scale, so sorry, forget it. Let's try something else. Um, I'll look for something that has kind of different tonality to it. But I'll definitely come back to this song because it's pretty. And I'm actually producing a new album. It's coming out soon. This piece is one of the songs that are in this album. Okay, so this next one is called Larmi Alik Warde. It's about friendship and peace, and it's on a scale that comes from Iraq. It's called Lami. I'll play it and we can talk after about the scale and what it means. As I did with the previous piece, I'll play a little improvisation, then I'll sing the song. Sounds good? لارمي عليك وردة بس انت ارمي السلام لما بتمر حدي ولا نسيت الكلام لارمي عليك وردة بس انت ارمي السلام لما بتمر حدي ولا نسيت الكلام مش جاي عبالك حكي بتقول هو الحكي بيشفي مقهور ومغلول مش جاي عبالك حكي بتقول هو الحكي بيشفي مقهور ومغلول احكي يا عم احكي يا عم بلكي الحكي هدي وكل كلمة من قلبك مني إلك وردة مني إلك وردة لارمي عليك وردة بس انت ارمي السلام لما بتمر حدي ولا نسيت الكلام لارمي عليك وردة بس انت ارمي السلام لما بتمر حدي ولا نسيت الكلام مش جاي عمالك ماشي بسجون هو الحكي بيشفي مقهور ومغلول مش جاي عبالك ماشي بسجون ملها قفول ولا جاي عبالك حكي طب قول شو بدك قول احكي معي عالحب صرخ علي وسب احكي معي عالحب صرخ علي وسب احكي يا عم احكي يا عم بلكي الحكي هدي وكل كلمة من قلبك مني إلك وردة مني إلك وردة.
Good. Thank you, Basil. We have a question from Ophelia. Ophelia, where are you? 1 second. Trying to find you. Here we go.
Hi.
How long have you been playing?
Very long time. Now I'm 41 and I started when I was 9. So that's 30 years. I also play other instruments, and I'm also a music composer and conductor. And I have actually, it's probably important for you to know, and for Albert too. I'm starting an orchestra, a Middle Eastern Arabic orchestra in New England. So that could include New York. So we're trying to gather musicians to play Arabic music. And this is open not only to musicians who are trained in the Arabic tradition, but also any Western musicians, any violinists, cello, bass players, and all other orchestra sections, brass and wood and reed instruments, so everything. So yeah, I've been playing for all that long, and I also do other stuff as well.
Emma asked on the chat if you use a pick to play the wood.
I do. We call it a plectrum. It's actually I'm trying to show. This is made of plastic. Traditionally, it was made from eagle feathers. And like you would take the feather from under the wing of the eagle. That's very flexible, and if you notice, it can bend. It's very flexible. Jazz guitar
Justin.
players, because they play
Right.
lots of melodies and lots of trilling and a lot of it's very articulate. So they use very thin and flexible picks that are round shape. I don't have one here to show you. Oh, actually I do. So this is the guitar pick. Sorry. And jazz musicians, because they want to produce quick and fast melodies and very like elaborate work, so it's bending. So it's the same concept with the oud pick. It should be flexible and easy to bend and produce very fast movements with it, very fast melodies.
Barnaby has a question.
Oh, yes. Wait, hold on. Sorry, I didn't.
Can you turn on the camera?
Oh,
let me find you.
So I just had a question because, like, I'm sort of like more familiar with the guitar than the rap. Sorry, about like the way I pronounced it. But like, is there a difference between, because I saw in the way that like the instrument was structured, instead of having there be like one like big hole for the sound to like go through, there are like a whole bunch of like little dotted holes, and then like a sort of like plate where like the like the opening on the guitar is. I was wondering like what function does that serve for like the way that like the sound works, and like how does that work with like the way that you play? That was just my question.
I couldn't really understand what you meant. Can you keep your microphone unmute? Just like explain more to me. So do you mean the designs in the center here?
Yeah, that
Okay.
was what I was wondering about, because I know in a guitar it's just one
Open
thing.
hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the way the structure of the instrument works. With guitars, it's the shape, probably the shape of the actual guitar, like like how it's like bends from the top and the bottom. It kind of treats the sound differently inside the instrument, and it comes in and goes through those loops and comes out. With the oud, it's so we produce the sound from basically strumming the strings. The sound goes in through the big hole mainly, and the two little ones, but for the most part it's the big one. And this structure, other than it's beautiful, it's actually let me get a little closer. It's actually open to the inside of the instrument. So what it does, it it filters the sound and it gives it that elaborate sort of beautiful. I don't know what the right term for that, but mostly filtering is what comes to my mind at the moment. So the sound goes into the instrument, goes in one loop inside the body of the instrument, and comes out through the two small holes, and it's filtered as it goes in and as it comes out. So all noises or unwanted or undesired sounds in the instrument are structured and designed to actually be cut off and eliminated. So that the sound produced will be nice, warm, and actually it's the character of the actual instrument. I hope I did answer your question.
Thank you. Yes, that answers it like so well. I was just like I noticed it the first time that like he showed me, and I noticed that like they sounded differently. So I wanted to know like what how they affected each other. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, actually, I'm so glad you asked this. Actually, we have several luthiers in the country, in America, that actually fix, renovate, and make the ouds. It's quite a task, and it could take, if you aren't using any sort of modern technology, to make a handmade instrument, it could take up to maybe a year and a half to actually finish one instrument. And by the way, a lot of the wood that's used in those instruments, and also this also applies to guitars, to classical guitars. The wood is, it's supposed to be sort of like sitting in specific environments for years and years, up to probably 50, 60 years. So it has to be really old wood, extremely dry, and ready to be used for instrument making. So, and this applies to the ouds, of course. And there's a lot of so many secrets in the way these instruments are made, which is really a wonderful thing. It's similar to violin, similar to cello, similar to other string instruments too.
We have another question. Here we go.
Oh, hi. I was wondering if the oud is played particularly for some occasions, or is it's and if it's very appropriate for certain themes, like oh, for sad, for celebration, for weddings, for like, are there any associations like that with the instrument and playing it?
It's, if you go in the Middle East, in most countries, Egypt, Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, everywhere in the Middle East, it used to be the tradition that the oud actually lives in every household. And it's an instrument, it's a social instrument. So it's whenever you have a new baby, you grab your oud and you actually get together and sing to celebrate the new baby. If there's a wedding, it's the same applies. If there is a funeral, somebody passed, same thing. They use the oud, and other instruments, of course, because it's not the only instrument. It's like how the piano is part of every household in the West. The oud is the house instrument. So it's a family instrument. It's a social instrument. It's an instrument that talks about the collective, the culture, and it is associated with almost everything around people's lives. In the cafe, in the neighborhood pub. This is the DJ of the old time. Like this is where, like, like instead of having a radio or having music, they used to have the oud and the oud player. So it works for every music. I know a lot of happy tunes that are played on this instrument and sang by Arabic singers, and also sad and whatever is in between, in those gray areas too.
Would you like to play again, Basel?
Sure.
And then we can ask
I
more
love it. Listen,
questions.
let me just talk a little bit about the piece that I just played. It's called Larmi Alik Warde. I'll just try to translate a little bit from the words. It's written by Mahmoud Abu Hashash, and it says, I will throw a rose at you if you say hello to me. And this is a social gesture. It's a gesture to like make friendship and be friends with people. And I think it's a very unique concept for a song. I haven't heard a song that kind of addresses this element of human interaction and friendship. Um, cool. All right, another love song. So this song is written by Amir Badran. It's on Maqam Nahawand, which is an equivalent to the minor scale in Western music. And it's a waltz. It's kind of rhythm. and I hope you enjoy it. It's another love song. So it's a it's Amir's or the poet's way of seeing what love means. I can explain later. It's a fun song to play. I like it. جرب اطلع نص الليل وشوف النجم اللي بتغني، ولما ترقص نجم سهير اسألها ولا تسألني، بتقولك شو يعني الحب. جرب اطلع نص الليل وشوف النجم اللي بتغني، ولما ترقص نجم سهير اسألها ولا تسألني، بتقولك شو يعني الحب. جرب اسهر لك أسبوع واحكي مع حالك وشويش، ولما الغرفة تفيض دموع وعيونك ما تسألش، جرب فوق العشب تنام وتحلم بالشمس شوية، ولما الغيمة تصير حرام وتغمر صدرك بالمي، راح تفهم شو يعني الحب. جرب ابعد 5 امتار عن حالك واحمل وردة، ولما تحس بقلبك نار ونهدي بتسابق نهدي، راح تفهم شو يعني الحب. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. I'll ask a question.
Sure.
Maybe there are more, but I'll ask mine. So I wanted to ask you more because musicians, also when we play, right, we talk about our own life and our own experience. So as I said at the beginning, I met you 13 years ago in East Jerusalem, and I know that you grew up and you were born between East Jerusalem and Ramallah in the West Bank. So I have 2 questions for you. Why did you decide to leave? Why did you decide to move to the United States? And also, what is it to be a Palestinian immigrant in the United States? What does
Yeah.
it look like?
Wow. Do we have
3
time?
questions. Answer in 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, short answer. First question about why I moved to the States. My wife is American, so she's from here, and my children are half American. So it made more sense. So like more than half of my family is American. So I consider myself a Palestinian American. So it's more of a natural move. Back when we lived, and I only moved to the United States in 2016, so probably what, like 6 years ago. Um, the situation wasn't easy. I mean, it's not new information. It was difficult lifestyle, and so we decided just like avoid all that and like focus more on our growth as individuals and as a family. So we decided to move to our other country, which is America. Um, Being Palestinian in America, it's good and bad, because the whole concept of racism and social justice, and all that's happening around Black Lives Matter and around human rights in America, it does affect me as a Palestinian, because in Palestine I'm considered a minority. I don't want to say black, but I'm considered a minority, and I'm not seen as an equal human to my against my counterpart. So being here is liberating because I can speak, I can actually voice my concerns, and I can be practicing my activism through music and through culture more efficiently and with limited constraints um, than it would have been in the Middle East. Um, the and again, I feel like there's a lot more to do for me, a lot more responsibility for me to do as a Palestinian American who lives outside of Palestine, because my voice, um, this is the fact. It's worth more, and it can actually make more change because it's coming from a place of freedom, opposed of it being coming from a place of oppression. Uh, did I do it in 3 minutes? Probably I did.
That's very good. There is another question. Josh, go ahead.
Hi, thanks so much for doing this. You kind of just got to my question. I was going to ask you to compare the role of musicians in general, or yourself as a musician in Palestine compared to the United States.
Yeah, I think music plays a significant role in change and in the processes of bringing people together and like having mutual understandings of life events. And if you noticed, I avoid talking about peace because we all know nowadays it's not about making peace, it's about bringing justice to minorities in America, to immigrants, to like bring people on the same level with others. And I feel like bringing music to a music event does not necessarily bring peace, but it certainly brings equality, which is an important, and like I think it's the main foundation for an end of oppression, an end of occupation, an end of discrimination, end of racism. Bringing people in the same room, bringing people to listen to the same music is significant. Coming from a place where I am Palestinian and I am American, and I am a composer, I'm a singer and a songwriter, I can actually provide a lot of insight to what people can actually agree on and agree upon as a group, as a collective, and in a way or another realize how similar we are in the way we approach life and the way we approach politics. And I think, I mean, it has been fantastic. The past 6 years, I've done so much for the freedom of my people, the freedom of the Palestinians, and for the end of occupation, without in any way jeopardizing other people's freedom and other people's right to live and right to survive and right to have their own political, social, human entity. So yeah.
Ben, to your next.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, when you play the oud and you play that kind of music, do you read music to play it, or is there a different way of writing sheet music, or do you not use sheet music at all?
We actually use sheet music. We use similar sheet music to the jazz guide music. So like the main like basically G clef and the one line, like one melody and the chords on the top. So we use something similar to that. Um, in the pieces I played on the oud, none of them are written. These are all improvised. So being a composer in the Arabic music tradition, it's very important to be able to improvise and write music in the moment. The other songs, I primarily I actually wrote them in sort of like music notation, like staff, like 5 line staff style. But now I know them by heart. I mean, I've been playing this stuff for several years, so I don't necessarily need the music. I know it by heart. But yes, if you want to play my music or anybody wants to play my music, they will need the sheet and they will read it, and that's what Arabic musicians do. Like they do both. They play from the sheet, like if it's something that's composed and written, and also they improvise.
Ethan, did you have a question? Ethan?
Yeah. What inspired you to play music?
Sorry, what was that, Ethan? So
Can you repeat it, Ethan?
What inspired you to play music?
Wow, yes. So there's a lot of history. Yeah, when I was a child, I think probably it was jealousy. A friend of mine was taking guitar lessons, and his guitar teacher wasn't very good. And I wasn't a musician at the time, I was a child. And probably I was 8 or 9, and I was visiting my friend as he was taking his guitar lesson. I'm like, this guitar teacher doesn't seem to know what he's doing. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start learning music, and I'm sure there's something to be done, something better to be done with this. I don't know if I reached that point, but I think it started from being jealous that my friend was taking music lessons and I wasn't, and I was determined that I wanted. This is the path I wanted in my life.
Okay, before you play the last song and the event is over, is there any last question? Okay, so Basel, thanks so much for coming today. I hope to see you soon in person in New York
Same here.
or in Boston, inshallah. And what are you going to play? What is the last song going to be?
The last song is called Hada Leil. Hada
Beautiful.
Leil Wala Shu, and it's I composed and wrote this song and published it back in 2006. It's one of my very first productions. And before I do it, I just want to thank you very much, Albert, for inviting me today, and thank everybody in this group. As Albert said, one day maybe I'll come to New York and meet with you all in person. I really appreciate all the amazing, insightful questions, and I hope you enjoyed my music and my stories. هذا ليل ولا شو هذا بحر شو بدك تعلق الأسامي والصور هذا ليل ولا شو هذا بحر شو بدك تعلق الأسامي والصور فيش حيطان ولا شجر فيش وقت عشان تخاف ولا وقت تكتب شعر، فيش ورق أبيض ولا حبر. هذا ليل ولا شو، هذا بحر، شو بدك تعلم الأسامي والصور، شو بدك تمشي، فيشي وقت عشان تنسى، فيشي وقت عشان تنسى، أكم خيمة أكم عمر، شو بدك تفاتل، فيشي وقت عشان تنسى، وانت وعدني بالفرح وبالأغاني وبالقمر. هذا ليل ولا شو، هذا بحر، شو بدك تعلم الأسامي والصور.
Make some noise.
Thank you very much.
Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. The concert is over. I hope you enjoy it. Enjoy the rest of the day.